to the mayor's office. And now, behind the mic at KXEX, this is the Autry Show. No retreat.
And so, my fellow Americans, ask not what your country can do for you. Ask what you can do for your country.
Mr. Gorbachev, tear down this wall.
What the hell's going on out here? Everybody grabbing out there. Nobody.
That the only thing we have to fear is fear itself.
Today, I consider myself the luckiest man on the face of the earth.
I'm not fearing any man. Mine eyes have seen the glory of the coming of the Lord.
So, 5 seconds left in the game. Do you believe in miracles? Yes! Unbelievable. Free at last! Free at last! Thanks Almighty!
You're listening to the Autry Show on the best talk in town. Talk Radio 1550 KXEX. Call Alan now, 559-899-1550.
Hey, welcome to Autry No Retreat. It is thunderous Thursday here in Fresno. Beautiful weather. Had a couple of days of rain. Cleaned all that air up. My buddy says you can't trust air you can't see. Well, I sure can. It's great here. Great to be alive. Great to be an American. And please, Republicans. That's why I'm an independent. Folks, just think about it for a moment. You have an election. Republicans looks like most assuredly going to win the House. So they're going to have their guy. There's a really good chance that they're going to control the Senate. And yet, Democrats are ecstatic and Republicans are depressed. Only in America can you win and say, oh, darn, I'm so sad we won. Goodness gracious. And you know, them majorities out there, I know I'm going to get some calls and some emails from my further right brethren who I love so much. Maybe, because what I've noticed, maybe that split, that close majority there, that kind of razor thin, is good. Because what? It makes you work with the other party. And if you've listened to this show in the past year, you know that's one of my basic tenets. You've got to work together. Even if you don't like it, you got to work together. I mean, the founding fathers, go do this a little bit of reading. Some of them despised each other. They threw things at each other. They called each other names. Adams, Jefferson, go read about it. It was bad as any social media meme attack you'd ever find there. Yet they had one thing in common, and that was to build a country. And a country based on freedom, liberty. Yours under King George will do that too. So that was the number one goal, the glue that kept them together. And they got together and hammered out a document with all of its flaws, one of the greatest documents and guiding lights, if you value freedom and liberty, that the world had ever seen, called our Constitution. And they did it both without a political party. There was no Democrat. Just Americans. And they got together, worked together, stayed together. That Constitution declared freedom and liberty and justice for all, codified it. God's rights given to man, not some king or emperor deciding what people rights should have or not have. That's what it was called, the Great Experiment. So, lest not your heart be troubled, I happen to think this could be very, very good. And I know some of the Republicans are going, boy, we're going to be a red wave. And I think it's why, because I've been in that seat. I've been in government 8 years as mayor. Spent a lot of time in Sacramento, Washington, lobbying for resources for our city and those super majorities mean you just don't have to work hard to get what you want. You know, you're speaker and you get the red wave comes, or the blue wave comes, whichever situation may be. And if you got a big enough majority, you don't have to really work to get your agenda through. You don't have to consider the opinions of others. You don't have to consider all the millions of people that voted differently than you. You just what you want to do, you bully it through. You know, I mean, it's like if they're a Speaker of the House, it's like, you know, they're trying to pass legislation. You got a supermajority to go, hey, can we just pass this quick because I want to go to my sushi dinner. I got some people waiting for me, and I need to go out there, and I'm going to be late for this. Oh, my, God forbid you have to go, geez, this important legislation is going to change the course of America and affect so many people. I'm going to have to go convince somebody that is good in my own party. God forbid you have to stand by and sell what it is that you're trying to sell to people and get them to buy it. So anyway, that's my take. I know if you're not on one side or the other, it's pick a side time in American history. You try to stay in the middle and work together with both parties. You get the slings and arrows and the clubs and the bullets from both sides. I get all that. Quite frankly, I don't care. I'm too old. That's one thing about getting old. Stop worrying about stuff like that. Stop worrying about what can you do with your limited time left to just make the world just a little bit a better place with what you can contribute. You know, don't go out there trying to change the world, but a whole lot of little bits. If we just do our little bit where God has put us, all those little bits can add up to a whole lot and make big change for the good. Keep our eye on the ball. I want to, we have Guillermo coming in here a little later. As he says, coming in hot. I want to commend Guillermo for election night coverage. My goodness, he did a great job of herding the cats and bringing that coverage to you. Jeremy, tip of the hat to you. Pastor Jim Franklin and all the hosts that came in here, Larry Powell, Matt White, just the whole crew. You know, when you start mentioning a name, you always leave somebody out, and I don't mean to do that. A whole host of people did a great job for this little engine that could, KXEX. But, you know, we kicked this thing off on politics, but this show has been in the works for a while, and it surrounds education. And in particular, an organization, a school that I've become very fond of, and seeing how they do things. And these decisions that are made at the federal level affect pretty much every aspect of life for us here locally. That's why you need to be. But really, in particular, education. What's taught, how it's taught, what freedom a teacher or administrator has or doesn't have. Much of it comes from the federal government and the state government. I think there's like 18 volumes of ed code that's hanging around the teacher. So, and they're not big fans of that because most teachers, regardless of how poison the system may be, labor day and night trying to help our kids get educated and arm them with an education to go out in life and reach their dreams. But I want to welcome our guest here, Armando Montero. Welcome, Armando.
Thank you for having me.
Great for you to be here. Armando is like everybody else first time on radio. This guy's cool as a cucumber. He really is. He's laser beamed. He said right before he came on, he goes, Alan, I'm a little nervous. I go, would there be something wrong with you? You weren't. But great to have you here. And we're going to talk about Sierra High School, charter school.
Charter school, yeah.
Of which you are vice. What's your position there?
Well, I'm a high school counselor.
Yes.
I'm part of the leadership team at the school. So, there's a group of us that is the leadership team there, and we do some great things at this school. I'm excited to talk about.
Yeah, and what a team it is, because I visited there, met Lisa, met some of the teachers there. Your CFO, Sherry's great, just a really good team out there, and great kids hung out there. Back to school night,
Yeah.
I went to, and what a night that was.
How was that?
Oh,
Yeah.
It was fantastic.
Great
What a turnout.
You know, our families came out, and we're really excited at the amount of people we had come out. Thank you and Legacy for coming out. You guys made a tremendous impact that night, and you know, it was exciting to have the environment, to have the families. The food was awesome too, so you can't complain about that. You know,
No, the food was great. Those tacos. And I was on my low carb diet, so I had to take the tacos home and put the tortilla over there and eat the meat. But that was great.
Hey, could have had a cheat day.
Yeah, dude, I got to work on that. I got to earn my cheat day.
There you go.
Well, tell us a little bit, Armando, your story. You got a great story of, where you are now,
Sure.
And just kind of give us a little synopsis of your journey.
Yeah, so you know, education is fairly new to me. You know, early on in my professional career, I took the opportunity to join the U.S. military, and so being in the military early on, I was 5 years in the U.S. Army, and then something tragic happened to me in my life. I lost my mother, and I know nobody. I don't wish that on anyone, and we know it's part of life, you know, and it's something you got to deal with. But at that point in life, I came home, had a younger sister to take care of, and family, and I had to make a decision, and collaboratively with my family and the military, I decided I was going to go ahead and take an honorable discharge and come home and take care of my family and some of the responsibilities that I have here. Um, and so at that point, I started thinking, what am I going to do? And I started reaching out to mentors and people that I look up to, and people that would always give me really good advice. And I had a friend of mine that was a principal at a school. I told him, hey, I really like what you do. I see how you make an impact in your community. Um, I see the impact that it has on the students and the people that you work with and your family. I want that for myself. And he said, well, it's gonna take a journey. So I'll tell you what, I'll hire you as a janitor. I said, hire you as a janitor, and we'll start you in school. And so, I went to school, got my associates and then my bachelor's, and moved into a assistant teacher's assistant. And I had some people who saw me with some opportunity, including yourself. Always gave me some great advice early on over at Violet Hines Education Academy, and gave me some advice and continued to inspire and just have my back. And so I became a teacher shortly after that, and here I am at Sierra Charter School. And Miss Morosco, the principal over at Sierra Charter, has mentored me and given me amazing opportunities.
She's fantastic.
I mean, to have somebody allow me to come in and use the creativity, and to give me the freedom to be creative in how we work with students, and the teachers that we have that are so creative and flexible and working with students. It's been a blessing. It's been a blessing.
And utilize your life journey.
Yeah, definitely.
As part of what you impart to the kids. Just telling folks what Armando was talking about. We had a group of mentors over at Violet Hines, which is the continuation school for Fresno County here in the Central Valley. And I watched Armando, and as a janitor, everything was perfect. Everything was perfect. But I'd watch him, and he would always be casting the ear, listening to some of the counseling going on, watching how things were done. I would look over, and he never slacked on the job. He got what he was hired to do there. But he was like a freaking sponge. I just watched him. And then we would have conversations, and it wasn't about, the janitorial work.
Right.
I mean, it was about the kids, and he was deeply, deeply interested in what we were doing there, mentoring these kids. I'd see his interaction with the teachers there and how they all respected him so much. And I remember thinking, there's something very special with this young man. I don't know where he's going, but I know he's not going to be a janitor very long. I mean, the janitorial world, it will be a huge loss when you step out of that. And I know ones that love a good janitor. They're
Absolutely.
hard to find.
Absolutely.
But you just knew that was a station in life that you were going to move out of very shortly, and you did. Okay, Sierra, let's kind of educate folks about getting deep in the woods about what a charter school is. A lot of folks hear about public school, charter school. Well, right now there's like 4 ways to deliver education.
Right.
Public school, private school, charter, and homeschool.
Right.
Correct?
Correct.
And most people know what the public schools are all about. Private schools means, you can kind of make your own agenda up. You don't have that 10 volumes of ed code around your neck, and have quite a bit of freedom within reason to run your school, your private schools. Most of them are faith-based schools, either the secondary level, grammar school, and colleges. Liberty University, Notre Dame, religious schools, private schools. I went to a private school, UOP, up in Stockton.
Yeah.
I went there 5 years and never knew it was a Methodist school. They weren't praying during those frat parties up there. I'll tell you that, which they should have been. But the charter school is kind of a hybrid, isn't it? You go get a charter. You want to start a charter school. You have to petition the district, right? County the district.
Correct.
And then you fill out the forms and you do all the jump through the hoops that are necessary. And then if your charter is granted, and you correct me where I'm, you are basically told, okay, you don't have to adhere strictly to this ed code, all of this stuff that public schools.
Right.
And basically broken down, it's like, go ahead, just do it different, and then we're going to hold you accountable for the success of the kids. Are they coming to school? Are they learning? Are you operating properly, either fiscally, academically? And periodically you have the district review you, and they either extend your charter or rescind it. Is that pretty much.
Yeah. Well, I'll
everything-
tell you. Hopefully we can have my principal, Miss Morosco,
Oh,
on
yeah,
here
I can't
soon,
wait
and
for
she
that.
can dive deep into this. But for the most part, I think you're pretty accurate. We do have state ed codes that we do follow, and we want to make sure. But yeah, it does give you an opportunity to be a little bit creative. And not that traditional schools aren't creative; they are, and they've done some amazing work. For us, though, it gives us an opportunity. For instance, our charter school, Sierra Charter School, is a free WASC accredited hybrid program public charter school. So it's a public charter school. It doesn't cost to come here. We do some amazing things with students, and in regards to the hybrid flex model that we have, our students are typically on campus twice a week. Now, for the vast majority of our students, they're on campus a little more than that, but there's an independent study.
But that allows
portion
for
to
you
that.
to meet the kids where they are. They may
Right.
have jobs,
Right.
helping the family.
Right.
They may have kids.
Right.
Get some young ladies that may be mothers.
Yes.
Correct. So
Definitely.
you kind of are very flexible in schedule, which is,
Right.
I think, huge.
It's huge
in today's world.
And the one thing that I think is one of the biggest benefits to a school like ours is that you get a ton of one-on-one time with our teachers because of the size of the classrooms. We have smaller class sizes, so we have a tremendous amount of time for one-on-one work. Every teacher gets that time with.
I tell you,
student.
I've met a couple of your teachers. They are all stars.
They're all stars. We're really lucky and blessed to have the group of teachers that we have, because they come in every day, they give 100%, and they do tremendous work.
So, the Sierra Charter School is, correct me again if I'm wrong, does its best, and I think they do a great job of giving the whole school experience to the kid. That
Absolutely.
they would give to as if they were public school. the whole
Absolutely.
Experience. But they emphasize a kid who's behind, who may be struggling on what they call, is it credits?
Sure.
To get to graduate, you have to have so many credits
Right.
to graduate, and you probably run into a lot of kids who, for whatever reason,
Right.
good kids, bright kids, but they're behind on the credits,
Right.
and you want to get them up to speed as quickly as possible, correct?
Yeah, no. So a large population of our students are, when they come to Sierra Charter, they tend to stay. They really like the environment. They love the smaller class sizes. Parents typically love it because they have a constant communication with teachers. But we do have the occasional student who comes in deficient with their credits or is struggling. And with traditional schools, you got a huge amount of students in the classroom, and it's not always easy. And so students can sometimes fall between the cracks, and that's the unfortunate part of it. And then they have resources, and I know education's always working on trying to implement ways to avoid that. But with our school, we do have students who come in deficient, and because of that, we've been able to develop a system for these students to catch up. Whether it's working with teachers one-on-one and coming in extra days, our teachers are really good about developing weekly plans. And we have some exciting things coming up with Legacy joining our team to help us in that.
Yeah, the team's really looking forward to that. So you have, just like any campus, a diverse student body,
Absolutely.
if you will.
Absolutely.
Some that are doing very well when they come to the campus and want that just different environment that they
Absolutely.
feel more comfortable in.
Yeah.
Smaller environment. And then you have those that are struggling that can come in that want to get that diploma, that may have a job or whatever, and they're behind. You can get them caught up.
Right.
Let me ask you this before we go to break. We'll get see Guillermo. I keep hearing something, and it really bothers me. Quite frankly, it scares me. I'm hearing a growing number of young people and older people, not many my age, but older, meaning 30s, saying, you know what? Education's not what you don't need. You don't need your high school diploma. You don't need, yeah, college isn't for everyone. I did my hair, short hair, because, yeah, it is for everyone. You may choose not to go there.
Right.
But don't tell me, because I was told that. It wasn't college material. It wasn't for me. My dad was a farm laborer. And in that person's mind who was counseling me at Riverdale, that's what I was going to do. But college wasn't, I wanted to go to college really bad. I just didn't know how to express it. I was really shy. Right. We didn't have counselors like they have today. Boy, I wish I would have. There. But I still believe with all my heart that if you don't get your high school diploma, you're still in for a really, really hard road in life.
That's very true. Yeah, and I love a metaphor.
Let's just don't mince words.
Yeah.
What's your take on that?
I agree. I agree. I take from a metaphor you gave me featuring Barry Bonds and how that you can't let a pitcher be in control of your future. You got to have a diploma.
Life
You know,
Takes the bat out of your hands.
It
And you're
does.
at the mercy of other people
that's right.
and luck.
And you know, a couple of things I think contribute to that, Ellen, are just my philosophy is I don't think the American people would want a Marine Corps and an Army who didn't work together for a common goal and protecting the freedoms of America, right? Well, I think, like you mentioned, those 4 different types of education that students can experience, I don't think that families would also want those being so divided. I think we're in a time where there's room for charter schools, there's room for traditional schools, independent study programs. They're all out there, and one size does not fit all, you know. And sometimes I just feel like, man, maybe if there's opportunity for us to collaborate a little bit more, we could take away from some of that thought, because COVID did a number on us. You know, COVID did a number on us.
You know, we're going to take a break. When we come back, I want to talk about that and talk a little bit more about the uniqueness of Sierra Charter School and why it may be the place for your child, your grandchild, to go. This is Alan Autry, No Retreat, and Guillermo's on his way. Yes, that Guillermo Moreno, the one you love and adore. Be right back.
There's a train a-coming.
How's it going?
Oh, it in. Well, we're still on social media, so you're live right now.
All right.
Hot mic.
Hot mic. All right.
Armando Montero,
Guillermo, nice to
Guillermo
meet you.
Moreno. You're just you're not really talking about. You're pretending that voice. Yeah, man.
You can't fit in a sentence or two.
No, we'll take it. We'll take it. I just can't believe your voice. It's blown.
I don't get it, but I do need to record a quick liner.
You look good. Do whatever
right.
you got to do.
Ready? All right. This is Guillermo Moreno. Wish I could be here. We're going to send you live to Brandon Tatum. I'll see you on Monday because I sound like.
You sound like a foghorn leghorn with a sore throat.
What?
I'll say that's a joke, son. I'll say.
Foghorn leghorn.
Foghorn leghorn with a sore throat. Now you sound like a dirty old man.
Because I sound like a. What is it? A foghorn? Or,
you haven't heard?
Never.
Jeremy knows foghorn leghorn.
Foghorn.
He's a cartoon character.
It's a character. It's
right.
like a rooster.
I've
dude.
been accused of doing that, doing foghorn leghorn as Bubba on the Heat of the Night.
Foghorn leghorn. You ever heard
I'll
of
say,
it?
I'll get right on it, Chief. I'll say. Yeah,
Big old rooster.
big old. You know it. Yeah.
Foghorn leg. All right. Because I sound like a foghorn leghorn. I'll see.
Like, not a. I sound like him.
I sound.
There's only
like,
one foghorn leghorn.
Okay.
There's not multiple.
Okay. Because I sound like foghorn leghorn
With a sore throat.
with a sore throat.
It's guaranteed to get one laugh.
All right. Got it.
James in Texas will get that and laugh. The others, I don't know.
You got it. You have to cut out. Good luck editing that.
Nice meeting you. Thank you.
Hey, we'll take the meeting later because I want to talk about school and what we were talking about. Okay? Yeah, he's an all-star. We'll set it up when your voice is
Nice
better.
to meet you, buddy. Thank you. Thank you. Yeah, thank you, man. We'll talk more. All right.
30 seconds.
COVID and also the one size.
Ten
Spam.
seconds.
Yeah, seriously. I get those daily.
You're listening to the Alan Autry Show on the best talk in town. Talk Radio 1550 KXEX. Call Alan now. 559-899-1550.
And welcome back to Alan Autry No Retreat on Thunderous Thursday. We're honored to have Mr. Armando Montero here representing Sierra Charter School, great school here in Fresno. And before the break, we're not going to have Guillermo, by the way. You should have heard his voice. He came in during the break. My gosh, I don't even know why he tried to come in. He texted me today going, I can come in if you need me. And he gets over here. red wave didn't happen. I was ready to surf that red wave, and it just crashed up against the rocks. No, we just had a trickle. We got Armando Montero. Before the break, you talked about the effects of COVID.
Yeah.
On campuses, and I've got a lot of friends in the education world, and they're all saying the same thing. This lockdown has been disastrous in terms of its effect on students.
Yeah.
Give me your thoughts on it, what you're dealing with at Sierra, and how you see us collectively as an education team, public, private, charter, homeschoolers, work our way out of this and bring some normalcy back.
The word normalcy. I mean, I don't think we'll ever be back to what we considered normal before.
We have a new normal.
We have a new normal. COVID took a huge toll on education. I know us as Sierra Charter. I know districts neighboring us. When having to do virtual classes, you lose. And I'm going to touch on this because I think it's the most important aspect because of mental health. But the social aspect of student interaction. Seeing each other in person, having those conversations amongst students, staff. I mean, it took a toll on the mental health of our country. And particularly in education. Teachers having to work from home and Zooming with students and not getting that social interaction with students. Because I'll tell you, a big part of our job, and one thing that our teachers are particularly good at, is talking to their students every single day and recognizing their personality. So that when that student comes in and they're acting a little bit different, you can notice it. You're not being yourself today. What's going on here? Let's have a chat. Let me make sure everything's okay with you. We missed that. We missed that. And not entirely, but it became tremendously difficult to do that.
Yeah, and it defied reason to think that you could have the same efficacy learning from home as you would when you're saying, okay, bell rings, you're in your seat, and we're going to focus on geometry.
Right.
Cell phones off, and pay attention, regardless. My mind always wandered, and I was horrible at that. Mr. Fritz was a great teacher just through osmosis because I was in the class, made to be there. I was able to get by with a C.
Right.
Which, if it would have been, at home, and let's get real. How many kids were there? They got the computer on.
Right.
In algebra class, but they got their phone right next to it with TikTok.
Yeah.
With TikTok videos. I mean, that it's crazy to think that was going to improve learning habits.
Yeah.
So they kind of knew that going in, and they played, okay, that's the best we can do.
Right.
Deal. We're going to have to work. Where do you see the system now in terms of, you say it'll never go back to normal.
Right.
But where do you see now in terms of getting to another new normal that's adequate? I don't believe pie in the sky. Let's just say something that you'd feel good about. Okay, campuses have settled down because there's a lot of discipline issues.
Oh, yeah.
On public school campuses and on charter schools. We got our arms around that. Sure. We're not having as many teachers assaulted. We're having, because kids now, I'm hearing this as well. So many kids are thinking because they were out of school for a year and a half that actually being in school is optional. Right. So they go from an unstructured environment, basically where they can do whatever they want, whenever they want, with the refrigerator when they want. Because that's not the classroom. It's my living room, my bedroom. And to be able to go back to a structured environment, they rebelled.
Right.
So those two questions, how do you see, first taking a charter school? I know you have friends in the education world all over in public schools.
Right.
First address Sierra on where we are right now,
sure.
Getting back to an adequate new normal
right.
for kids so parents can feel somewhat safe and optimistic about the school. And then speak to the public schools.
Yeah, so with Sierra Charter School, we were particularly, well prepared, coincidentally for COVID because of our format. We're a flex format, so students are on campus twice a week, and they do some independent study that they're required to do at home, virtually. And so we were already well equipped with the tools needed to sustain during COVID. So we saw the same dip that every other school did because it affected us all. but because of our format, we were able to sustain and kind of deal with the ramifications of COVID a little bit better. And so we teamed with schools around us, through conversations, reaching out to kind of help any school that was, because we all saw what was going on. I mean, it was chaos, and schools were trying to drastically improve how they could deliver this online education to students. And it made it difficult at Sierra Charter. You do see that. You do see that students think that school's an option. So truancy and a lack of academic progress sometimes can be a thing that that every school's trying to develop resources to help. But it's not always that easy.
Yeah.
And public schools, I think, were impacted even more so.
And you know what I noticed about Sierra, you have Learn for Life here, and does a great job as well. People talk about not leaving just because they may be struggling, not coming to school, have issues at home that does not even allow them to function a normal life healthily, much less do homework in the back room.
Right.
Chaotic home lives. And as a result, academic problems with these kids, stop coming to school, have some behavioral issues. And I see some talking a good game, schools and districts, but I don't see enough. I'm not going to say I don't see some, but I don't see enough schools walking the talk and saying, okay, we're not going to give up on this kid, even if that kid gives up on themselves. They're not coming to school. We're going to go to their home.
Right.
We're going to talk to them. We're going to do everything possible in this window of time we have. Give the struggling kid a chance to catch up. And I find that so inspiring at Sierra. And also they do it at Learn for Life. Sierra is so committed to that because it takes hard work.
It does.
It takes work beyond coming there your 2 hours,
right,
or the administration, and to have a culture that says, you know what, we're going to give it everything we got because we got to look at ourselves in the mirror.
Right.
So I guess my question is, when you're talking about education, just like any place else, isn't it about the people? It's not necessarily the system, because you got to operate under certain things, systems
right,
that you don't like, that you think unfair, or if they change it would be better. But most of us don't get that opportunity to make our own world. We got to operate under certain things. And the character of the people there that I've met in Sierra, and their not only desire to help those kids that are struggling, but to actually implement it and put a walk to their talk.
Right.
Now, is that something you all talk about when you set out each day? Is it part of your DNA at Sierra?
You're right when you talk about how the systems that are in place have to be foundational. They have to be something that kind of guide us along the way. But a huge part of why our teachers are so effective is because they really use that personal side. They really think about the experiences. They really care. When a student isn't doing well, they take that personal.
Because let's face it.
Yeah.
You get on some campuses and you don't have administration back you up as a teacher.
Yeah.
As much as you care for kids, day in and day out, if you don't get back up and you have the kids that are running unruly and you have a system that beats you down, you could have the care squeezed out of you,
right,
or greatly reduced,
right,
to where after 5, 6, 7 years as a teacher, you're wondering, where did that optimistic, that full of idealism person, man or woman I used to be when I started this school, where did it go?
Right. Right. And one thing I'll say about our teachers is, when with COVID and everything that happened in COVID, we knew coming back to whatever new normal was going to come, that we had to be flexible, we had to be ready to adapt, and we had to put everything we had into it. And so meeting after meeting, conversation after conversation, particular student situations, teachers are in tears and just trying to figure out how can we help this kid. They, at the end of the day, Alan, I think it really relies on these teachers love these kids. They want to see a difference.
You can feel that on that campus.
Yeah, yeah.
Folks, really, I'm not just saying that. People know me. I've been offered, much to the chagrin of some of my family members, to endorse products for not tens of thousands, hundreds of thousands, but after Heathen Night and Dream. I turned it down. I was do a beer endorsement, more than I was making on Heathen Night. And I'm not trying to say that I'm just such a smarter, great guy. I'm not saying that at all. It's just that, people are watching and you're influencing people. And I didn't take that, and you have their Sierra, and that's why I'm really a proponent for Sierra and Learn for Life, these charter schools that are really, because they do care. It's palpable when you go onto their campus and you talk to the teachers, and there is a difference because, and again, I'm not picking on the public school system. My goodness, teachers in that system have to put up with, I don't know how they do it. They're my heroes. My mentors in life, about 90% of them were teachers and coaches, but it is what it is.
Yeah. You're right.
And you can, you can get caught in a situation where there's a kid that needs me, but I'm so overwhelmed over here with this. I can't reach out and help that kid in this, and the system is overwhelmed. But
right.
You at Sierra, and that's why I ask you, is that a core component of the character of your school?
Yeah.
That when you hire somebody, you try to discern, not can you just teach geometry or teach algebra, history, or science, but do you really care for these kids and in a real visceral way?
Yeah, our administration,
because it feels that way.
It is, and it is, Alan. Our administration really challenges us to provoke and to establish an environment where kids know that they're loved, kids know that they're cared about, and they know that. I mean, I'd be surprised if you reached out to one of our parents and asked when's the last time they heard from their teacher. They'd probably say a few minutes ago, because they're reaching out every single day. You know, we realize
it felt that way during back to school. That's what I'm saying.
I mean, that environment, wasn't it?
I went back and talked to my wife about it and said, something different going over there at Sierra Charter. There's something different. They're doing something different. And then when you trace it back, it can go back. Usually success goes back to some really simple, basic reasons. Because there's an old saying, a kid doesn't care what you say until they
right.
You think then they'll listen. There's a lot of truth to that. And I think a lot of that success you're getting there is, first of all, these kids, you got to know that you care. Then they're going to pay attention more.
Yeah, and I think it shows too in the way, being a high school counselor, I always want to try my best to be as involved as possible with teachers and concerns they have for students. And I'll tell you,
well, heck, you did that as a janitor. You absolutely got to do that as a counselor. I saw you talking to those kids, with the broom in your hand. You're over there counseling those kids there in the corner, man.
That's right. And it was thanks to people like you, people like the principal, Mr. Martinez, and other people at Violet Heights that made such a huge impact on me. Bill Johnson was a great leader there, and I mean, there was just so many people. Jeff Becker and Andy Perez over at the county office. Those guys established a great fundamental understanding for me what leadership looks like. And so for us, it's just our administration. It starts with them. And when our teachers come to me with a concern with the student, it's never this student's doing this or this student's doing that. It's I'm worried about this guy. I'm worried about this girl. I'm worried about this kid. I'm not sure what's going on, but we need to get to. They take it personal. They take it personal. They treat our students like they're their own, and it's you can feel it.
Yes, you can, and that's why the team over there at Legacy, they're just chomping at the bit because they sense it as well. And there's things that, most campuses I've been to, teachers, I look at them and I say, you know what? Don't think that this group Legacy formed in Cal Mentoring before that. Think that we're a bunch of knights in shining armor that can come in and fix something that you broke.
Right.
That's not that at all. I said, every one of you as a teacher, pretty much, with a few exceptions, would make unbelievable mentors. But that's not what you went to school for. You do it when you can.
Yeah.
You got science to teach. You got math to teach. You got history to teach. You've got a job that you have a teaching credential to do.
Right.
And hopefully this team can come in. And it's unfortunate that the social issues and all the things that are happening have created so many broken kids, so many challenges that kids face, that they need that interest from an adult that cares, that their mission is to do that. Not to teach science, not to teach math, but to help that kid want to be in that class, want to be taught, changing their attitude on things. If you change a kid's attitude, you can change their behavior.
Right.
And your behavior, like coming to school, paying attention in school, because it's all attitudinal.
Yeah.
It's up in their mind. And being able to say that's where the teamwork comes with the teacher and, say, a mentor. And I will look right in the thing right here. It's not, I'm biased to our group, but if you don't have mentors, life coaches on the campus, find somebody. Do it for your teachers. Make it be reputable. Some organizations out there that, just throw somebody out there. We don't do that. We make sure we have the right folks out there. But let me ask you this. This is kind of, and then I want to get back to some more specifics about Sierra. Look forward to having the principal and more administrators here with you.
Definitely.
As we move on here. I really believe in what you're doing. And I know Guillermo here is going to be an advocate as well when he can speak. I've always found it interesting in a sad way that the education system, in particular the public school system in the state of California, resisted the notion, which I think is an absolute fact. You mentioned it earlier, not a notion, a fact, that one size does not fit all in certain situations. And it certainly doesn't fit with education. Now, for me, for example, nobody in my family went to college. Let's finish, but I was so fortunate. Parents let me play football. I was able to get good enough to get a scholarship. And I thought I wanted one at SC, Stanford. Campuses were huge. I didn't get one. And God knew what he was doing. But I got one scholarship offer from University of Pacific in Stockton.
Right.
USC student body was tens of thousands. Classes were like 300, 400 kids. And UOP had a student body of 7,500. And my classes were with 12, 15 kids. I thrived in that environment because I missed home. Shy. I was all this stuff. I didn't do well around big, large groups of people. Right. If I was playing sports, I was okay. But socially, it just sapped me. I would have been, I don't know, what would have happened to me if I would have been at SC? I would have felt so uncomfortable. Go to class, play football. And I think the same thing with kids. And why the system doesn't say, you know what, we're all on the same team delivering education. Public, private, charter, and home. Let's stop trying to vilify each other. I mean, for a long period of time, private school and public school, it was like the old Palestinian-Israeli days back in the old days where you didn't recognize the other's right to exist.
Right.
Private schools were also down on public schools, and public schools were down private. And that was not good. Then you had the tension between charter schools and public schools. And my goodness, if you choose to homeschool, you're some weirdo out in Wackoville. You better send child protective services there every week because something's going on there.
Right.
But now that's starting to, that stereotype and mindsets. Do you see a day coming pretty soon that if they work together, I always said, as mayor, I really said a lot. You four pillars, your four cornerstones of education deliverance would work together. You could change the lives. There would be plenty of students for everybody to get their ADA.
Right.
You would just help so many kids if you worked together.
You would.
And
I don't know I wish I had the answer to what caused that divide. I don't. But what I do know is I'm hoping and I'm optimistic that we're heading in the right direction because I've worked on the traditional public school side and I've worked here at the public charter school. And I'll tell you, Alan, the kids, you can't tell them apart. They're the same kids we're serving. Mm-hmm. The only difference is we have a little bit of a unique approach to how we deliver our education.
Which could be huge.
Could be huge for
a kid's.
If you have a student,
the way they're made up
100%.
In their mind.
And traditional schools are great. I love what they do. They're a staple in our communities that deliver a great education, but it's not for everybody.
Yeah. I mean, I can't see why a public school counseling is struggling. And it comes out that kid feels lost on a big campus. Say out Clovis North or any of Buchanan, big schools. Just know it. But you see that's a bright kid. It's just the whole social makeup is almost impossible to function. Why can't they say, you know what, have you tried looking into a local charter school? Find your quality. And why can't they do that? And then I'm not criticizing. I think we're getting closer to that type of mindset and heart set. And same thing on a charter. You have a kid in there, maybe a strapping athlete, doing well. Yep. And, and say, you know what, I know you're coming here. And I know you love athletics. You're looking for a place to go and excel. And you love being around people, who hate, lose you, but you may be able to excel at a larger public school.
Yeah, and it's
I
not
mean,
outside the norm. Yeah.
Yeah, why can't there? Or maybe you need to be homeschooled.
Yeah.
Or the home. So, talk to the parent going, this kid, you're having trouble with homeschooling. We'd be better at Sierra Charter.
Right.
It's not a huge school. You still be home a lot.
Yeah.
But they can get out with other kids and be around this administration and staff. I know I'm running on, but why can't we get there? It's that old saying, I see things as they are and ask why, and dream things that never were and say why not.
And I don't have the answer. I don't. I wish I did.
Well, gosh darn. Why are you here if you don't have the answer to the problem that's plagued education for the last 100 years?
Well, Alan, I don't have the answer, but one thing that I do have is I have a vision for, being a leader in education that extends the olive branch and wants the team with these schools around us, because I know you
do.
They need us just as much as we need them.
Mm-hmm.
And that collaborative effort and talking, and I think the more that communication happens, and I know Mr. Powell and Mr. Jovino did a great job of trying to provoke and provide support, and how important collaboration is. So I really do believe that as an educational leader, I want to do that. I want to reach out. I want to start to help bridge that gap, but it's going to take all of us.
Yeah, and I'd like to speak here too, right in the camera, because I have teachers that watch the show, people at Fresno Unified in particular, and Clovis Unified.
Yeah.
They think some of the so-called team players or system players, you find a certain element, not a lot, but they're very vocal, that are anti-charter, because they think charters are going around bashing the public school system.
Right.
I'll tell you this. I've been on a lot of charter campuses. Even, I won't try to give you a number, a ton of them, here in the state and out of state, Texas in particular. Particularly, we're talking about California. I have never heard an administrator or a teacher say one bad word about Fresno Unified or Clovis Unified, much less bash them. I haven't even heard, that's just not the conversation that the good charters want to have.
Yeah.
If they're not into bashing somebody else, try to elevate yourself by bashing somebody else. Lift yourself. The only way to lift yourself up is bring somebody down.
That's right.
Now, I've seen that, and I can take the heat here because it's me. I've seen that from folks in the system. There's nothing to fear of a good charter school flourishing to the public school system. They're allies there waiting to happen. You reach out, and I guarantee you Sierra Charter would love, correct me if I'm wrong, they'd love to be a great partner with public school systems.
100%. To be quite honest, from my perspective, we already are.
Yeah,
because
I know you are.
I'll tell you, Alan, we have students on our campus who have brothers and sisters in Clovis Unified.
Yeah.
We have teachers on our campus whose students go to Fresno and Clovis Unified. As far as we're concerned, we are a part. We do collaborate, and we have students regularly come on our campus and say, hey, I was struggling a little bit here or there. I'd like to catch up on credits. I like the smaller class sizes, and they obtain their goal. And there they go back to the school better prepared and ready to go and ready to reach their goals. And it's not that the school couldn't provide that.
Right.
That student at that very moment needed somewhere where they had a smaller class population, maybe because they didn't reach out to staff. Because I know they're readily, resourceful at these districts, and they're great at what they do. But sometimes it doesn't fit the student, and they want something a little bit different. And you know what? Nothing makes me more happy than when a student comes needing help. They're better prepared. And they go back to that school, graduate with their friends, and walk across that street.
Amen. And again, we just have a minute left, but we'll talk about this on other shows. And I look forward to having board members, school board members we've had on the show several times. Fresno Unified School Board, Clovis, County Office of Education Board, the ones that oversee the charter. I think I can speak freely without for Sierra, Armando, correct me if I'm wrong.
Yeah.
They have no interest in seeing a bad school come into existence as you do. They want to see bad charters. If you're bad and you're not functioning, you're just out there going through the motions. They don't want them around any more than you do.
That's right.
Gives them a bad name. And I'd like to give an invitation on behalf of Sierra. And again, because I don't think they're going to mind this. You want to visit Sierra? Visit Sierra Charter School. See what they're doing. Go over to Learn for Life. Visit. I know them. They would welcome you. And you would have a high level of comfort when it's time to renew or whatever process you go through. They're an open book. They welcome the scrutiny. And just call them up, and I'm sure, hey, you want to come and see what we're doing, talk to our kids, talk to our staff, see our data, we're welcome anytime. Did I get out of line by saying that?
I couldn't have said it better myself.
Okay. I felt pretty secure. I normally don't speak for people, but I just want to see this collaboration work even stronger.
Absolutely.
Between public school, private schools, charter schools, home schools. Because the problems we're going to face in society, if education can really work together, and you extrapolate that further to bring in the community colleges and the universities
right
here in the Valley, we can do, I sort of say you can't change the world, but, maybe we can be a part of that. Bringing people together in this thing where Republicans had Democrats, Democrats had Republicans, all of this angst and anger towards one another. The education system, which had gotten a reputation, whether it's deserved or not, I don't know, but in some cases probably always arguing amongst each other.
Yeah.
And education can figure that out.
That's right.
On behalf of the kids. And so I just see this press conference of public school representative, charter school representative, a private school, Fresno Pacific, Fresno State, Sarah Charter School, public school principals,
right?
With some state officials announcing a brand new vision for cooperation within education. Yeah. I think it would just inspire the heck out of me.
Oh, absolutely. I think it'd inspire our communities. I think it'll inspire the communities to see these pillars of education working together.
Okay. Last word here for you, and then we're going to have you back, folks. And we look forward to this partnership we have with our charter schools, Sarah and Learn for Life. What advice would you give to that janitor out there that's working now, that has dreams and aspirations, that may feel like I'm never going to get past this broom or in the restrooms or mopping the floors and making sure the doors are locked and unlocked? That's a noble profession. Don't get me wrong. You love it. Stay there. God bless you. It's needed. But if you have dreams and you want to go further, what bit of advice would you give?
Well, being a janitor, you're in my personal opinion, one of the two most important positions in a school. Because you talk to everybody, you know everybody, you hear everything, and you are an integral part of the culture of that school.
Amen.
Everybody looks at the janitor.
I did in high school.
Oh, absolutely.
Mr. Carrero.
And
still remember his name?
Our principal never ceased to put a little bit more responsibility on my plate. So I know everybody wanted me around. But a piece of advice I would give is just, if your aspiration is to continue to progress and develop yourself, find a mentor, because there's a place for you. There's a place for you. Surround yourself with people who are going to give you, good advice, who are going to help you stay focused and optimistic about the future, and just don't give up. Just keep going, because if I could do it, you can.
I love it. I love it. And today's day and time, back in the day, to go back to school means you had to have your rear end in a seat.
That's right.
But now you can go online. You can keep your janitor job and work towards a degree.
That's absolutely right.
I mean, what a blessing.
That's right.
I on here and I lament, the high-tech world, some of the things it's doing with TikTok and this and that, but there's some very good things.
That's right.
In particular in education, right?
Absolutely, absolutely. Technology has a place.
Yeah.
It has a place.
And you brought up a good point here. We're out of time, but, we saw the damage that was done being locked down, not being able to. But, you think, what if you had not had, if we didn't have that capability on the computers to interact?
Sure.
How bad it would have been.
Oh, yeah.
I'm personally believing it should have been locked up to begin with, but that's a whole different show.
Yeah.
So, Armando Montero, thank you for being with us. The Sierra Charter School. Please give the website, if somebody's interested in Sierra Charter School, how do they contact y'all?
SierraCharter.org. There's a link in the website where you can request information, or you can call me, 559-476-3411. Come visit, come talk, let's collaborate.
476
3411.
3411. God bless you, folks. Just remember, do your best, let God do the rest, and I promise you it's going to turn out exactly how it's supposed to. Bye-bye now. Love y'all.